Let's get weird, buddy. Let's get weird.
Guys, where are we?
Well, if there's a bright center to the universe, you're on the planet that it's farthest from.
Welcome to the Outer Rim. Enjoy your stay. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Smirking Gun. This is Rob here. And if you're a first-time visitor, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. We have been pushing through Severance Season 1. I'm finally talking about this show as we get really close to the second season premiere, which is on the 17th. We will be recovering all episodes of that show on a weekly basis as they come out. I say we, like the royal we. I don't know. Will you be there? Will I be alone? I don't know. Doesn't matter. But if you are enjoying the content here on the channel, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. It should be subscribe and like. I don't know. Can you do it both at the same time? Hit the bell for all notifications, all that jazz. It's been a blast talking about this show. I've been wanting to talk about this show for a long time. I think I just needed a little push, and that push was, hey, season 2's coming out, dummy, and you haven't talked about season 1 yet. And this feels good. If you're new, if you don't know my channel, it a long time ago now feels like I think my channel's 9 years old now. Might be in my 10th year of making videos. Basically, over time, my channel has become kind of a vlog to talk about things, and the way that I've always talked about them is with, I don't know, I like to call it, I don't know. I used to be like, I'm really super honest, but like, and I am, but a lot of it is the way that I talk about stuff is how it makes me feel, how it makes us feel, what it makes me think about when I'm watching it. I try not to. I don't really talk about too many things that I don't like. Sometimes I'll be stuck in a show that I'm like, man, like, is it gonna get any better? We've been like that on the channel. I've talked like that with my friend Darren on his channel, where if we're stuck in a show we don't like, we just keep going. But it's great to talk about stuff that really makes me think. One of the reasons I even make content is to put my back up against something when I've got a lot of thoughts in my head, when I've got a lot of feelings about life and the world, and I want to get it out and express myself. This is kind of how I do it. And so regular reviewers are going to be out there talking about like all kinds of more technical things. And we talk about that here too. But this kind of show, man, really like lets me think about all kinds of things and what's going on in the story and how that can like correlate with my life, your life, everything. And this is a perfect show for that. And Ben Stiller, and the creator of the show, it escapes me right now what his name is. I don't have all the notes in front of me, but everybody that's been a part of the show has just made something really, really special, and I'm happy to share my feelings with everybody. And this week, it is the penultimate episode called What's for Dinner? And sometimes penultimate episodes can be better than the finale. This show just like, I don't think of it in terms like that for like this show anyway, because part of one big journey that we're on together. And with season 2, we know that journey is not over. This is, like Dylan says in this episode, this is just the first step. But as far as like creating tension, this and the finale, I mean, this whole show does tension great. But as far as tension goes, this and the finale of this season are incredible. I remember, we'll be talking about it, the finale, but I remember watching the finale, just climbing the walls, thinking like, oh my God, when is this going to happen? Do they have enough time? Like I always do that with like finales, or I start looking at the clock going, how are they going to wrap this up, or how are they going to resolve this? Are they going to resolve this? Are we going to get more answers? And that's kind of what I get a lot of in this episode. Is a lot of questions that start popping up for me anyway, because I've said that, like, watching this, that the plot is less interesting to me than like how the plot affects the characters and their reactions and getting to know them. But this episode really gets me more into, because it's the Kier and the Egan and the what the fuck are they doing at Lumen has always been there, right? It's in the background. It's the thing that, you know, drives some of it. A lot of this though is just workplace stuff. The weird ways that Lumen and the Severed program mess with people, like the whys about Kier and all the weird culty stuff is always like there's an aroma of it. It's a lingering smell in the room, but they don't spend tons and tons of time on it, you know. But this is that kind of episode that makes me go, okay, what the fuck are they doing there? Forget, you know, like, not just the numbers and everything else, but like, we'll get to that as we go along. So we start this episode with Irving's Audi. I love this because it just drops us right in to kind of let us know what Irving is like on the outside. And I mean, he's the kind of guy who likes to take morning winter walks with his dog and read. Morning time in winter is fucking cold as I don't have to, should I have to say that? Like, Durham, I mean, I know that I actually, because I'm great in colder climate, but I certainly would not like I don't have it in me to sit outside with my dog and read. So that says something about Irving right off the bat. To me, it does. And then we realize that he's an artist and that all he paints, well, he paints on wood too, which is really interesting to me. I don't know if that's rare. It seems like it's rare. But anyway, and there might be like all kinds of benefits to working on wood rather than canvas, things like that. And I don't know because I'm not a painter. But all he paints is, and I love this, like they show like the black paint, the way it comes out, the way it can be all bubbly and oozy, and it suddenly clicks in our heads that why Irving is seeing all this black ooze from other episodes of this. It was making me think like maybe he has a tumor or something, you know, like maybe it's the effects of the chip. These are things that I didn't remember until I was right up on it, and I realized, oh, that's why it's bleeding into his severed life, this memory. But why? What is he painting, right? All we get is like a dark hallway with a red light, upside down triangle. I think it's upside down triangle, and an elevator. So we know that he is painting something that he has seen down in Lumen. But that's not the normal hallway that they take. That's not the elevator they take to get out of there. So we're going to get to that in a little bit. But that's what he's painting, right? And he's listening to Motorhead's Ace of Spades. Please don't hate me for this. I don't like that song. There's something about the energy of it and his voice that just makes me anxious. And maybe that's the point of why it's in here. I don't know, but I've never really liked that song. There's something like, I listen to all kinds of music and all kinds of speeds, but for some reason the energy of Ace of Spades freaks me the fuck out. I don't know why. But as we get through the intro, which again, everybody always watch the intro to this show. It's a great way to, like, I don't know, get more in the mood for this show to me. But as we open up, right, they're all on the elevator. And I like that this is maybe the first time that Helly is like actually excited to go to work. Um, at first, I didn't quite understand what they were doing because they seemed like they were like, "All right, man, like it's go time. Like, are we starting now?" But really, what it is, well, it's part of it, right? Was because we're not privy to, I guess, all of their plans that they have going on. But part of the plan seems to be that they had to make quota, right? Uh, Harmony and Milchick were on them about sitting at their desks, doing their jobs. We need you to get to 100%. We have to hit the numbers. And while Irving and Dylan and Mark have already done it, well, this is Heliar's first quarter, I would say. And they're all on pins and needles to actually make the numbers. I've never worked at a job like that. I mean, a lot of the things that are in this show are very relatable to me. But office stuff, quotas, numbers, things like that, um, have never been a part of my working life. So I don't really have too much to compare to other than like preparing for inventory, which can be a pain in the ass, and making sure that we're all set for it. Like a lot of times we get told to like back off on certain things, whittle things down, like blah, blah, blah. It makes for a better inventory and yada, yada. But they get there, and I like even where how Milchick and Harmony are hovering over it nervously. Why are they like? Because these are the things that are like making me ask, like, what are they doing there? Because they're super into it. They're super on pins and needles. Why is it so important? You know what I mean? Like what happens if they don't make their numbers? Right? It makes me think of Cabin in the Woods for some reason all of a sudden, where it's like, what if all the country, and spoilers for Cabin in the Woods, but what happens if, like, what happens at the, during Cabin in the Woods, how they're all freaking out about, everybody, making their, thing that happens. I don't want to spoil Cabin in the Woods, but for those of you who've seen Cabin in the Woods, do you know what I'm talking about? Oh, on that level. We find out, I don't know if this is the first time we've heard Milchick's first name be called Seth, but Harmony asks for one last wellness, like end of quarter wellness session for Mark. Now we know now going into this episode that Gemma is Miss Casey. So she says one last time, like for Mark S to see Miss Casey for the last time. What is she talking about? Like, what does she mean last time? Like when you're sitting there going, because they don't know that they know each other. But her like last time part, okay, we just had Bert retired, right? So it sounds to me like, like if you don't, like, as we get further into this, we know that she's been fired. But what is like Harmony's big like deal with all this? I also loved the end screen for Heliar's like finishing of the whatever file, Sienna, maybe I think was what she was working on, where it very reminded me of like end games sequences for like the Super Nintendo the original SNES, or like even like some of the Super Nintendo games where it's just this like cheesy, like the music is usually the best part of these games, these games, not the graphics when it comes to like comparatively like what's better. And the music's on point, but it's just this cheesy pre-recorded, like they insert Heli R, in here, and Cure flying away and all this shit. It's just like, it's so weird. But I do like Irving's turn where it's like, so it's on now. Like he is switched on. He has become John Turturro. But as they finish their quota, right? It suddenly, I love this hard cut to Mark and Harmony laughing. It's off-putting, and again, I think it's meant to be. I like that we don't know what they were just talking about. How did they get to the laughter? Did they get to the laughter? Did she just have him sit down and in her own way, her like weird nervous way, she starts laughing because she's a kook. And we see how big of a kook she is. We saw just a taste of it when she like screamed at him about, calling him a child, you serve care, you fucking child. And she really shows us her real face in this, man. She is a master of like switching it on and off. Um, that kind of person usually doesn't fool me, but she fools everybody in this show anyway. She's a pretty decent actress on the show and her character as well. I mean, um, so as they are getting told how well it is that they got their numbers and they get the waffle party, Mark chooses Dylan to get the party, and she's like, you can choose yourself somebody other than him, but he's like, it's Dylan's thing. He really works hard for it, and she just, how can she deny it? He's telling kind of the truth, which is what I love, is that it's a believable reason to give it to him. Because he probably does get it. He always brags about these things. She also lies to Mark about Grainer being retired and that Lumen needed this. Why? Does she need this though? Is that what she's saying? And part of me has been like, what is her end game? What is she? How much power does she have? We also find out how much power she has in this. Like just because she's the head of like this severed department doesn't mean that she's all powerful, doesn't mean that she's not also a cog in the machine. And I think that I've kind of given her the way she carries herself off. She gives off like cigarette smoking mad vibes from the X-Files, like the person behind the shadows that's doing a bunch of dark shady stuff that she is covering up all these secrets, and she is, but I don't think she's privy to as much as I think she is. She's just a true believer, which I said makes her very fucking scary and probably even an outlier to some of the people that from like, on the board level of things. Like she might be like this outlier of the old ways versus the new ways, the corporate versus the old timey religion. Um, and this company is maybe she's got some kind of connection to Kier. I don't know, but maybe she's legacy, maybe because of the school she got in here. I don't know. But again, it's like wanting to know all these answers about this character means that somebody's doing a good job, not just with the writing, but the performing and everything else. Okay. The tree Mark made. Okay. So we cut to the wellness center scene with Miss Casey. And you know what? I'm doing it. I'm pressing pause on this recording, and I'm going to find out how to pronounce her name. Okay, so I looked it up. Dichun Lockman. So I have been brutally brutalizing that name. Dichun Lockman. All I had to do was Google it, folks. How many things can we actually fix? When you're standing around, you're like, what is this? All you got to do is Google it. Not everything. I mean, not everything should be like as simple as I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but I googled it. D. Chun Lockman is how you pronounce Miss Casey's character's name, real name. All right, so Mark goes to her office, notices that she's getting all packed up. The tree. I don't know why I didn't put this together. Why I didn't remember the tree when he was making the clay thing, and it was literally that. And he points out, "Where's the tree?" Um, but it's already gone, and things are being boxed up. And we find out that she's being retired. She's being fired, and Mark um, is really upset about this. And she's trying to do her augmented wellness for him, talking about how his Audi is this and that. And we all know now at this point that these are just empty garbage sayings that aren't necessarily true and are just generic things to make Mark S feel better. Um, but really interesting thing about this scene is we get to learn so much about Miss Casey in this. She's only been awake. She's kept track somehow. Maybe somebody told her. I don't know. But her life has only spanned 107 hours. And that she knows that like she vexes them. She vexed Mark. She liked being there. Like in all the 107 hours that she's been alive, the 8 hours that she spent with them watching Helly R was the best time that she had. And it explains so much, like why she is the way she is. First off, she is truly isolated. And they only wake her up for these wellness chats. And she's only done 107 hours of them. Now, 107 hours is a lot of hours, but not in the grand scheme of things. I mean, 96 hours is 4 days. So she's been awake for less than 5 days, which means she has had no time to develop any kind of social skills, even in a normal, like Mark's department, or O&D. Like those guys are in there 8 hours a day. So where does she go if she's not dead, right? If she's not dead, I mean, she's clearly not dead. Where does she go? Why isn't she with Mark on the outside? Um, and yeah, like where is her outie, right? And it's really sad. It just says so much, and it made me ask so many questions about not just that, but like the accident and everything surrounding, like why Mark is there and why Gemma is there. Um, and even like Miss, okay, so Harmony's like watching this like some weird soap opera. Like it's she created this scene. She made this happen. She wanted this to happen for who though? Because to me, it would just drive like Mark S on the outside's never gonna know about this, right? Or on for all intents and purposes, he would never find out about this. It would just hurt Mark, the other Mark, our Lumen Industries Mark, because he now has to live with like he feels like responsible for this, and he talks about like these are our lives and they shouldn't just be able to turn us off like that, and it gets to her, like, and it gets to Harmony too a little bit, and it's like is she watching like a soap opera? Does she like having this control over their lives to be able to manipulate them like little puppets around the board? um what's the end all thing? Is this like her being able to, is she in love with Mark? I don't, like, is this her way of playing out some kind of romance thing? Does she like watching them have to like separate? um but she says that where I think it's Milchick that says it's good that they don't remember each other. So here I am speculating again, but like if it's good that they don't remember each other, is it good because it would just be harder, or is it good because something happened? Whatever happened on the outside is why it's good that they don't remember. And when she says take her back down to the testing floor, okay, so that means she doesn't leave Lumen? She doesn't leave. And they go to the different hallway. We get Irving's black hallway where she's now like, she doesn't want to go back to sleep. She's scared. She wants to turn to Milchick and try to find, any like way to like ask, am I happy up there? Oh, you're doing all sorts of wonderful things. So he just throws back the same kind of generic platitudes to her that she tells people in wellness sessions. But she gets in the elevator and the red light turns on and it's going down like to hell. Made me think of the picture for that movie Devil, where all those people are trapped in the elevator, but one of them's the devil. But okay, so she's going down. Now, like I said, it's kind of like hell to me. Black hallway, and it's in Irving's mind. Irving keeps seeing this hallway. Okay. We know we've seen Irving on the outside, but and we've seen him on the elevator, but have we ever seen him, like, why would he know that elevator unless he's gone down that elevator before? And if he's been on the testing room floor, what does that mean? And what is the testing room floor? Like I said, this one actually makes me ask the questions about the plot. We've gotten our characters. We know all of our characters. I now am completely satisfied with, well, not completely, we're still getting to know them. But like, we've spent tons and tons of time on the character. Now I am able to focus a little bit more on the plot elements that are going to push this forward, this story forward. Not just, it's not just going to be character work. But that's what I love about this first season is we did so much good groundwork on character that now it's time to like focus a little more on plot. And these questions are awesome to have. Um, but yeah, we switched to the Egg Bar Social, the pre-waffle party, where I don't know which one of these music selections they picked for this one. If anybody wants to venture a guess, I threw out. I didn't think I was going to need that list of music anymore, so I threw out the piece of paper. Otherwise, I'd be looking at it right now. But the Egg Bar Social's on point, right? And it's the first time though that Dylan's like enthusiasm for these things suddenly feels like he's like, yeah, man, let's go. Like, woo, like he does not have the same energy. But thankfully, Milchick does not pick up on this. Um, and what Milchick says to him, right? It reveals like, I can't punch you in the face. I can't do what I want to you right now, but he's like, when he's talking about, he's like praising Dylan. He's like, a man whose mind is as sharp as his insiders. Am I right, buddy? And all I'm thinking is, this is the only way for Milchick to express his fucking rage because he has to throw a party for this guy specifically. He's like kind of the man of the hour, even though they all did it, right? They all are part of getting the numbers, but they picked it. And Dylan as the big recipient, he gets the special prize, which we don't know what it is right away. I love when we do get the reveal, and it explains why like Irving punches him in the show, like in the shoulder, like with pride. They're all happy to see it. So I forgot a lot of this stuff. Um, but apparently the egg bar is coveted as fuck, as Dylan puts it. It's actually really good food. I don't really like deviled eggs that much, but those deviled eggs did look pretty fire. Um, but team, like they start getting aside. Helly's talking to him, like I should be the one to stay. But I love how Dylan's like energy that he was putting out towards getting perks has been turned towards going after Lumen now, after everything that Milchick did. I mean, if Milchick hadn't have done the overtime thing, Dylan probably wouldn't be as on board. Yeah, he was reading the book that Mark was reading, but that was the thing that pushed him over the edge. And he's now this kind of team player where he's like, he understands that he's part of something bigger. Yeah, would he love to see his kid again? Sure. But he also is like, I got out. I got to experience something. It's your turn now. That is not the way he used to be. Everybody has changed. That is the sign of incredible character and story care given to this story. And I'm so appreciative of it because most shows give us either, thin, bare bones, typical cliched bullshit character work for a lot of these shows, especially still on network TV, where they're just, this is this guy, this is this girl, this is that job, blah, blah, blah. They don't feel like people. They feel like fucking, like, sim characters, characters from The Sims who just have names and fuck, you know. But we cut to, this is where it gets okay. This whole episode, god damn it. Well, first we find out that Helly R's suicide attempt was only 3 weeks ago. Feels like so much time has gone by, but I love that reveal that a lot has happened since she tried it. Right? Because remember, she was gone. for a minute and came back. So all this stuff happens in pretty fast succession. But it also, to me, is a way of like looking at how our work lives and our work routine lives are. That some things, a lot can happen, and it'll feel like no time is going. Like weeks can go by at your job. It feels like when you're in it, you're in quicksand, slow quicksand. But all of a sudden, you're like, holy shit, a month has gone by, and a lot happens. But in this scene, the board finally reveals that they've known what Harmony has been covering up. They know about the suicide attempt. They know that she's been hanging out with Mark's sister. Then you've got Grainer dying. You've got all of this stuff that they've not been running their own department well, right? With all the different things that are going on. Because I don't know if Harmony's like, you know, trying to figure out what Mark's up to on the like thinks that maybe what's going on with Mark on the inside is connected to what's happening to Mark on the outside, and that's why she's invading his life to try to get Mark S outside more on track for inside. I don't know, but there's Natalie with her little headpiece saying, you know, shows all the information, and she gets to tell Harmony, "You've been suspended. You are fired." And I love love again Patricia Arquette's response of just fuck off, Natalie. But we hear a yes. Like, is this the board what the board wants? And we hear a yes from the speaker. And I gotta say, I know that it's like supposed to sound all weird and creepy or something like that, like and like not recognizable. But to me, it kind of sounds like Adam Scott's voice. And I'm pretty sure it's not him. But what if it is? What if there's because I've said, how many different ways can you be severed? What if there's parts of Mark that we don't even know yet, right? What if like when he goes through that elevator, just because he like we don't. Anyway, I'm planting seeds. But Irving's feelings at the party are revealed. I love this scene. He's staring at like the like Kier's picture, and all the ways that Irving is throughout this season, like started with this like reverence and correction if you say something wrong about like the text that's in these compliance books that are just there for them to read to keep them like in like whenever they need to get motivated or get a kickstart to their beliefs maybe or something, or they're a little shaken, so let's read something from Kier, and all that Irving's the character who's also a true believer, like Harmony, except he doesn't have anything. He's the blank slate that picked, you know, the and he's probably not uh, in the minority on this in Lumen, but we wouldn't know, right? Because we don't know any of the other departments. But we know that this is the character that adopts Kier's teachings to fill all that. He's You'd say brainwashed, but really he's just like if I don't know if brainwashed fits here because there's nothing to change any other opinion. This is just what he learned from being there and how he accepts it and how he's given himself all of it to the teachings of all this. And that now, after everything he's seen and experienced with Bert and all the hypocrisy and things that don't make sense to him about like when he thinks about how workers and the employer relationship are supposed to be and what he sees now and how he feels now after Bert and everything, it sums it all up. Like he opens up the book and he reads out of a passage that like is supposed to be like this big meaningful thing, and just that look on his face, and I'm waiting for him to like he feels like the same Irving that's like maybe he's looking at it like, oh my, like with still reverence, right? With all, but he puts the deviled egg on the napkin in the center of the book and slams it shut so fiercely that the egg doesn't splatter out or anything. It has just been crushed completely in the book. And to me, that says everything about what Irving thinks now about the teachings that he allowed himself to feel. And again, it feels like somebody in our world that, like, when we think about people that are brainwashed or people that believed a certain thing, or looked at things a certain way, that, for, you pray, you hope, not pray. I pray, the word pray is part of our, anyway, where you hope that, like, somebody who's really messed up wakes up sometime. There's plenty of people out, and we found out how many people need to wake up in this country. And Irving is that character in this show who finally sees the cult that he's in, the way of thinking that he is in has been wrong. He's been manipulated by liars. And this is his way of showing that I'm done listening to you people who lie to me and don't want what's best for me, and are only care about themselves, and blah blah blah. And like I said, there's a lot of real world shit, people out there that are exactly like Irving, that you hope one day see through the fucking bullshit and join the rest of us. Because I'm not going to turn this into a whole thing, but that's what I thought. This is what it made me think of when he does that. Um, then, okay, so Harmony, the party is canceled. The egg social is canceled because Milchick has to escort Harmony out of the building. Did Milchick rat her out? They don't say, but he was alone for a while, and a lot of stuff went down. So if I'm thinking correctly, I think he did do it. I think he did turn her in, because I mean he got bit by an by an employee. I think loyalty goes out the window when you're assaulted. It should, at least. Whatever loyalty he had to her, at least, went out the window. Who knows? Maybe he didn't do it, but I think he did. Um, so we're leaving, and Mark goes over the whole thing. When you get out there, find somebody that you trust and tell them everything. Mark reveals that he kept a book, which we all know. We also know that Dylan has also been reading it, and I don't think Irving has. So his look on his face is kind of interesting. But they both read about it, like, our job is to taste free air, that our bosses may want to control it, but the hour is ours. And I love that. Page 197 slaps. I don't use that term, but I sometimes like hearing it. And Irving's like turn at the elevator. Let's finally find out what's for dinner. So I just love it. It's time, though, for our characters to wake up. Mark and Helly, obvious. Okay, I know people love to ship things. I occasionally do if I think it's like especially like important for the story, maybe. I don't know. But it's obvious that they care for each other. It's obvious that there's a yearning there. And the way that they talk is very sweet. Their chemistry is on point. I personally don't give a shit about the shipping here, but I do like that. I think it does kind of fit. And it does create more drama, especially since we know that Miss Casey is alive, and this could cause problem for Mark. I mean, but it's, to me, the love triangle kind of thing is like, it's not really necessary for this story, but I don't know, throw more drama in, why not? She turns around and kisses him, very classic kind of thing, just in case we don't make it. And so for all of you out there that are shipping Helly and Mark, there you go. You got your moment. Don't expect a lot of happiness after that first kiss. Expect awkwardness and realizations about Miss Casey causing more weirdness for this. And hopefully, this relationship stuff kind of goes pushed to the side so we can focus on what's really important. Uh, waking everybody up and figuring, getting Severance figured out. So, Mark leaves and he sees this is where, like, everything's being set up, like the gala's being set up. Uh, Milchick leading, Dylan to the Kier house replica, saying enjoy, but in the most like unenthusiastic way possible. Because I mean, look, you're leading a guy to get rewarded who bit you. This is where it gets really fucking weird, man. This is where I start really going, what is going on here? But first, we get to see Harmony again, her real face in the car on the way home, screaming. I mean, she might as well. I thought she was gonna start speaking in fucking tongues, man, because she is just cursing and just saying the way like creepy Mrs. Carmody type of things, because she was acting that way in that too, like just fuck with religious like undertones. It's just she's so awful, just screaming every kind of and blaming Natalie because she can't blame the board. She and the thing is like all of this is misplaced anger, right? She's the one who did the fucking up, and she wants to blame somebody else because she got caught. And now there's consequences. And that's another thing. People just can't handle consequences, so they just lie and lie and lie and lie and lie. That's our world, man. Don't accept consequences. Lie to the end. You know, people, like if we still had like the gallows and stuff, people would just still be all the way up to the noose being around their neck. I didn't do it. Anyway, um, so Dylan's waffle party. It's weird enough, right? He's sitting in the guy. It makes me think of like Eyes Wide Shut. This scene a little bit. Um, you sit there at this table. You eat the pancakes or the waffles or whatever. You eat the waffles at the waffle party. It'd be weird if they had pancakes at a waffle party. There'd be some explaining. Where's my waffles? Anyway, you eat the waffles, and at the bottom of the plate it says, "Go to Kier's bed." And on Kier's bed is a mask of Kier. I thought it was a dummy at first, like laying in the bed. And I'm like, what's he gonna do in the bed? Just lay next to the guy? Like lay next to a mannequin? But no, it's a mask you put on. You get in bed, and there's like some weird fucking like I don't know. Is that a whip? I think he's supposed to maybe whip something. Suddenly, a bunch of scantily clad people with masks on start dancing erotically around him. One of those weird like I've never been into this kind of thing. I don't know what it is. And maybe it's because it's like weird and broad and it's supposed to be some sort of titillating thing for the person who works there, like extra motivation that you'll have somebody, some weird I don't even know. What is the end game here? Do they gangbang you? Do you whip them? Do they whip you? Do you fuck? Do you not fuck? I don't know. Dylan's not going to find out either because he takes off in the middle of it, right? Um, and as he makes his way to the security room to get them woken up, Mark in, invites Harmony to his sister's house for Rickon's reading party, which I'm like, okay, this because we know what's going on. I'm like, oh my god, script. Of course you wrote in that Harmony is going to be there to make things even more tense. Um, we know that Helly is at the gala and Irving is back painting. So this is where they're all going to wake up. But unfortunately, Helly waking up at the party is going to be fun. Irving at the painting, maybe not so much, except I think when Irving wakes up, he's just going to make a beeline to find Bert because that's what Irving and Bert do, man. At least that's on Irving's side of things. I think Irving's going to make a beeline for Bert. But Mark and Harmony at the party. Baby's first party for daddy. I still don't know why she loves that guy. But anyway, I love the brother and sister banter still. It's so on point. It is so on point. Their chemistry is incredible too. But he alludes to a pretty big life change to his sister, who, of course, like a fly on the wall, listening to everything, Harmony hears that, and she wants to know, what did he mean by that? And Mark straight up tells her, because he has no reason to keep it a secret from anybody, that he might be leaving Lumen, and this makes her all kinds of happy. Now, is it because she got fired? I think it is pretty much baseline. Like, she now just wants to see Lumen burn for letting her go. So when she says like get away from them, Mock, maybe that's right, maybe it is a good thing, but I don't think her intentions are pure at all. I think she is still running on cruelty and being rejected, being pushed aside, you know, being told by the corporate entities over the Kier hardcore people that she no longer, can be a part of this whole thing. And so she just like them almost like the enemy of your enemy. Like she would probably be their friend down there in Lumen right now. But also, if they get let her come back, she would totally turn on them. So she's still a character that's not to be trusted. You don't want to tell her things, but Mark doesn't know this yet. Mark's doesn't know all about her. Um, I mean, he even says to her, "Work's just work, right?" And she's just, "Oh yeah." But this is where they're all going to wake up. Mark's going to wake up in Miss Cobell's arms, Harmony, Miss Selvig. She tells him, "Do it, Mark. Quit." And Dylan goes to turn the switches, and that's how the episode ends. Just and the finale is like 7 minutes shorter than this, so we're going to be getting into it. It's a maddening 40 minutes of how much are they going to succeed or fail at this. Will Dylan be able to keep them awake for as long as they need? I don't know. But we know that Dylan, his surprise gift for himself that he requested was a picture or the little glowing uh, their group. I don't know what you call those things that sits at your desk with the little holographic, like a little holographic whatever of all of them as motivation. So with that, hopefully, Dylan will end his anger towards Milchick and to stick it to everyone will cause some sort of victory for the finale. So that's the end of episode 8. I want to thank everybody for watching as we get ready for the finale. So if you like what we're doing here on the channel, again, don't forget to hit like and subscribe as we will be covering this show on a weekly basis starting around January 17th. It'll maybe a day or two after, I'm not sure. So thanks for watching. Be good to each other out there, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Ba 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 bum. Ba bum 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 ba 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 bum.